Welcome to the State of YOTO Address for 2024. I'm Elizabeth Slater, the CEO of Youth on Their Own, and this is an annual update that we provide our supporters to share information about youth homelessness in Pima County and updates about YOTO's response and our program services. We also use this opportunity to share our most recent graduation rate for YOTO seniors. We like to start by talking about what youth homelessness looks like, because this is a common question. Well, youth homelessness looks like this: young people on their phones, maybe playing video games, young people studying, we love to see that, maybe some stress at school, young people working, often in food service or retail jobs, and hopefully young people graduating high school. That's our mission here at YOTO. I hope one thing you're noticing is that this could really be any teenager you know. The young people in YOTO are just like every other young person. In fact, you probably know someone right now who could qualify for Youth on Their Own. Youth homelessness is such a hard problem to tackle because it's largely invisible. Most youth experiencing homelessness are not experiencing literal homelessness. Most of them are not sleeping on the street or in a car. Most of them are couch hopping or couch surfing, which means they're jumping around from house to house, staying with different non-parent adults. Maybe it's a friend from school's parents will let them stay at their house for a little while. Then they might jump over to a cousin's house for a little while, but it's highly unstable in most cases. Youth do not have a permanent place. They don't have somewhere that's theirs. They don't have a place to leave their belongings. They're usually taking stuff with them. And the message we like to make sure we share is that a couch is not a home. These young people are experiencing homelessness. Thankfully, there are usually non-parent adults that are temporarily letting youth stay with them. But in most cases, those hosts are not able to provide for the basic needs of the young person, and it is truly just a temporary shelter for them. The youth who are in YOTO meet these criteria. They are on their own without their parents. That's why we're called Youth on Their Own. There certainly are young people who experience homelessness with their families, and the youth in YOTO are not in that situation. The youth in YOTO are experiencing homelessness on their own without their parents. They are experiencing homelessness either through the federal definition or through one of YOTO's definitions of homelessness. They're providing their own basic needs, and they must be attending school. Yes, sometimes we do get youth who try to enroll in YOTO who aren't in school, and then that's a great opportunity for us to reconnect them with school. But a requirement for YOTO is that they attend school, because our mission is to support the high school graduation and continued success of youth experiencing homelessness. We are very focused on education attainment. So let's take a look at some data around youth homelessness. In Pima County, it's estimated there are approximately 2,700 youth experiencing homelessness who are also on their own, meaning not with their parents. And this year, YOTO will serve between 1,600 and 1,800 of those youth. We do not serve every youth that could qualify for YOTO. We would like to serve more of them, so we do a lot of outreach with our school partners and in the community. And we also realize there's a reality. Experiencing homelessness is an incredible barrier to education. It is really, really hard to stay in school and graduate if you're experiencing homelessness, especially if you don't have the support of a program like YOTO. And for some youth, the barriers will just be too great and school won't be an option for them. But we want to support as many youth as we can who are able to commit to education. Here's why this matters so much to us. Only about half of homeless youth in Arizona will graduate from high school. 52% is the most recent data. That's really, really low. And youth experiencing homelessness are 4.5 times more likely to be homeless in adulthood if they don't finish high school. There is a very clear connection between education attainment and the experience of homelessness. If youth aren't able to graduate high school, they are much more likely to experience homelessness in adulthood. And our hope is to disrupt that cycle by incentivizing youth to go to school and make that investment in their education, because that opens a lot of doors for them. Obviously, it increases their opportunity after high school. They can go to college, they can go to trade school, they can earn more money if they go directly to the workforce. And so we're really trying to help them build up those assets so that they can transition into self-reliance in adulthood. That's our goal. And last year, I am so excited to share that we saw our highest graduation rate ever for YOTO seniors. The graduation rate was 93% for seniors in YOTO. That is incredibly high for any youth, but especially for youth experiencing homelessness. And we are so proud. And YOTO actually made some recent changes to our program that I think you'll see are contributing to this very high graduation rate. We're so, so proud of the youth in our program. They were able to achieve this just incredible accomplishment. And we're very excited about this number. So let's just cover the basics first. YOTO does 3 things for youth to try to help them stay in school. The first is that we put a financial incentive on attending school. The top reason that a youth experiencing homelessness drops out of school is so that they can work more hours and earn money to support themselves. So if we can move that financial incentive from the workplace to the classroom, then we can actually incentivize youth to go to school instead of dropping out to work more hours. The youth tell us that this is the number one thing we provide them that makes it possible for them to stay in school. The way this works is that youth earn a stipend every month. It's an academic stipend. It's based on their attendance. So the more days they go to school, the more money they can earn from YOTO. And all the research shows us that the best indicator we have for whether a youth will graduate is whether they are in a classroom with a trained educator. So attendance is really, really important, and that's why we really push that. That's what we incentivize. The second thing YOTO provides is basic needs. So we try to think about what is the barrier a youth might have to going to school? Are they not going because they're hungry? Are they not going because they don't have deodorant? Do they not have a calculator or school supplies? What is the barrier? What is the basic need that's missing? What can YOTO do to provide that? So we have a facility at our youth center called a mini mall, and it's just like a store set up, but everything's free. So youth can come in and get food there, hygiene supplies, school supplies. We have underwear, socks, t-shirts. We have transportation available through the mini mall. Sometimes a youth might need a laptop or a special item that we can get for them. So again, we're just trying to figure out what is the barrier to going to school and how can we address it through the mini mall. If youth can't come in person to our mini mall to shop, they can place an order online. And once a week, we deliver the supplies to their school site. So every youth in this program can get access to their basic needs for free while they're enrolled in YOTO. The third thing we provide is guidance and support, because you really can't just put resources out there and expect it to magically solve all the problems. The young people in YOTO, sometimes they do not have a consistent adult in their life. So we have a team of program coordinators, and we also have some social workers that work together to support YOTO youth and create those individual one-on-one relationships with them. So youth know who they can call if they run into a situation that they need help troubleshooting, like their power gets shut off, or some other life event that could derail their plan to stay in school. There is an adult they know they can call and talk it through. This team of our program coordinators also really work the financial incentives. So they're really talking with youth and saying, hey, did you know if you go to school 3 more times this month, you can earn $50 more from YOTO? So they're really, really pushing that financial incentive and trying to get youth to go to school as much as possible. So YOTO recently made some changes to our program model that have really, really had great results, especially in terms of increasing our graduation rate for the past 2 years, and certainly helping us reach 93%. The biggest change is that we moved from a one-size-fits-all program model to a tiered service model. So what that means is prior to the last few years, YOTO gave the same exact services and support to every young person, no matter their circumstances. There was just one thing we provided, and it just looked the same for everyone. And our liaisons at our school sites gave us some feedback, and they felt like some of the students we were serving had higher needs than others. So we should really think about how to adjust our services. And then we engaged an evaluation firm, and they came in and looked at everything we did, and they gave us some suggestions about how to tier our services. So that is what YOTO has adopted. We now ask a ton of questions on our application for the program, and then we tier youth and we place them into one of these service tiers: standard services, plus services, or max services. And you can kind of guess by the name and also by the arrow here that youth in standard services have the lowest instability, meaning they're the most stable. They can probably stay where they're staying for longer. And so it's just a more stable situation for them. And then we tier up to max services with the highest level of instability. Youth have probably been hopping around the most over the past 6 months. They probably don't know how long they can stay at their current place for very long. So they have the highest level of need and they get the most support from YOTO. This has been a game changer. So we're really able to tailor our services toward the exact needs of youth. And what this looks like for our core service, which is the academic stipend, this is kind of a chart that shows how much youth can earn based on which service tier they're in. So for example, a youth who's in max services, earning the most support, if they earn a platinum stipend, meaning they only miss 3 days of school a month or less, that means they get $350 a month. And then everything tiers down from there. So you can see for plus youth, the level for platinum stipend is 300. For standard youth, it's 100. And last year we had 85% stipend participation, which means 85% of youth turned in their request for a stipend every month. That's very, very high. And 71% of the youth in our program achieved platinum attendance, meaning they were missing no more than 3 days of school in any month. And that is really the highest we've ever seen. One of the biggest changes we made last year is we increased the amount of the stipend. So now that a max youth can earn $350, that's about $100 more than they could earn per month last year. So we were able to increase the amount of the stipend, which really, really drove up the incentive and really kept youth in school, which was amazing. I mentioned we provide all basic needs for free. This is a picture of our mini mall, set up just like a store with different zones for food, hygiene, and school supplies. Last year, just over 78% of our youth utilized the mini mall. And a little over half of them did that in person. And then the other half received their items by ordering online and having it delivered to their school by our volunteers. We call them our caring couriers. And that was wonderful. We were able to distribute over 200,000 items last year to youth. These are some of our program coordinators who provide the one-on-one guidance and support. And I really can't say enough about how important it is to have a consistent adult in their life that youth can reach out to when they need help, when they're not sure what to do, if they need encouragement, if they just want to talk through their plans for school and what comes next. These are the folks that they meet with and talk with. We currently have a fully bilingual team of program coordinators, so they can all serve all youth in our program. And then YOTO doesn't just turn off the tap after graduation. Sometimes the period after high school is even harder because high school is where youth get access to food. It's where they have a lot of trained educators and adults looking out for them, checking in with them. It's where they see their friends, which is often where they find a place to crash and stay overnight temporarily. So we don't want to just stop the services we provide while youth are now trying to figure out what comes next after high school. So we, about 5 years ago, established an alumni program, and we do 2 things in the alumni program. The first is we provide access to basic needs. So youth up to age 25, they can still continue to get free food, hygiene supplies, and school supplies from YOTO. But we also provide very specific pathway support. So youth identify what pathway they want after high school, if they want to go to college or trade school, if they want to go directly to the workforce. They tell us, and then we have a team of program coordinators and AmeriCorps members, and we have a navigator from Pima County here that helps with workforce connections. There are a lot of resources that we house here at YOTO to help youth develop what their pathway is next. And it's been very, very successful. Any youth who graduates from YOTO is eligible to stay in the alumni program up to age 25 if they want to. But our core service remains high school graduation. So 80% of the youth in YOTO are in middle school or high school, and 20% of the youth in YOTO are in the alumni program. Lastly, I'm just going to overview a few of our strategic priorities so you know what our organization's thinking about and what's coming up next. But first, I'll recap. In June 2024, we completed a strategic planning cycle, and we achieved a lot of stuff during that time. The biggest change to our program model, again, was adopting a scalable tiered service model. So now we do tiered services for youth. That took a lot of work to organize the model, to develop it, to make sure it was going to work, to test it, and then to roll it out. We work with over 100 schools in Pima County, so we had to re-educate a lot of liaisons and youth in terms of how this program works and how they were going to be able to access services. So that took a while, but we finished it last year. We staffed up in key areas for better youth support. We have more program coordinators now. We have 2 social work interns and 1 licensed social worker on staff. Those are new things. We did not always have that. So we've been really staffing up in ways to support youth better. And then, as many of you know, we bought a property that we renovated on Country Club, and we moved YOTO, everything, our youth center, all of our staff moved to our new location at 2525 North Country Club. This is to accommodate our growth. So we have a beautiful space now that we were able to renovate with support from Angel Charity for Children. And you are officially invited to come tour anytime. It's a beautiful place and we'd love to show you. The youth give a lot of input on the design of the space, and you can really tell that when you're in there. It's very nice. It's beautiful. There's a lot of art and colorful signage, and they just the youth feel very comfortable there. Okay, so that's what we finished in June, and then we adopted a new strategic plan for this current fiscal year, going all the way through fiscal year 2027. And because we've had so much high impact, fast moving change at YOTO, we decided as an organization that we needed a stability cycle. So now what we're doing in these 3 years is evaluating whether all the changes we made actually made an impact. We're also doing some longer term evaluation, like a longitudinal study of YOTO alumni, so we can actually see if they have better outcomes later in life, and if YOTO's assisted in that happening for them. We're doing some systems building and some capacity building among our staff and our organization. And there's a couple areas in YOTO that are still in a growth mode. So I mentioned we just launched our alumni program 5 years ago. So that's still a growing program. We're still going to work on growing that program. We're still going to work on growing our volunteer program. So there's a couple areas where we're going to be doing targeted growth over this strategic plan. And then we're going to try to be positioning YOTO for whatever comes next. So whatever is our next growth cycle, if we might decide to expand YOTO to new locations, whatever we decide to do next, we're going to be in a really good shape to do that because we've spent these 3 years making sure that everything is really shored up in terms of the systems and how we do our work. So it would be easily replicable if we decided to do some expansion or growth. So that's what's on our mind. Yeah. We would love to hear from you, so please send any questions or comments to yotonews@yoto.org, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. We'd love to meet with you or tour you at our site if you'd like to come. You also can email yotonews@yoto.org for those requests, for a tour request. And I hope to see you soon and meet you in person if we haven't met yet. Thank you so much for your support of Youth on Their Own.